The first thing that I liked was Maharaj appreciating, whatsoever the teenagers were talking over there. And the second thing that I really liked, that when Maharaj was saying that he's still listening, he has 2,000 recordings of Srila Prabhupada, and he keeps listening to them. Right, so that was very nice that I was hearing from Maharaj. And one more thing, which is trying to correlate it, when Maharaj was talking about the kirtan, right? Maharaj says people like kirtan, but when it comes to japa, we are little, stepping back. So in our temple, right? Yeah, am I audible? In the HBR temple, in Vardhakrishna Prabhu was like, when the kids want to do kirtan, they have to do so many rounds of chanting. So that actually encourages the kids, especially to do japa, because they are keen on doing the kirtan, right? So I felt that is a very nice way that Vardhakrishna Prabhu has also brought in over there. So that's it, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Harish.
Yeah. Yes, Mataji. Yeah. Yes, Nilima Mataji. Yeah, yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah.
I want to share my thoughts on what Deelarita Prabhu has said. Um, please correct me if I am wrong. I remember.
Is this voice low only for me or for everyone?
Oh,
Yeah, I think Mataji is speaking little low. Nilima Mataji, can you little
now.
yeah, some more? Yeah. Yes.
So I was remembering Maharaj in one Vyas Puja ceremony. He was talking to a girl, some 5-year, 6-year-old girl. So he was telling to that, I think that girl's name is Pooja. So he was telling to Pooja that he did Putana series. Putana series was, I think, some 6-7 lectures. And he said he did Putana series and he dedicates it to Pooja because she drew a drawing on Putana and she gave it to Maharaj. And Maharaj understood that Pooja likes Putana story a lot. So that stayed with me. It touched my heart. So Maharaj was so like vulnerably expressing his love to Pooja. So I feel even amongst devotees or non-devotees also, even obviously amongst devotees, but others who are not practicing bhakti, but if they see that we are vulnerably appreciating somebody genuinely from heart, they'll really see that as an ornament on our character, and they'll feel this person is a very genuine person and it is safe and happy to be with him. So this is what I feel, Prabhu. Please correct me.
Thank you, Mataji. Very nice. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
The similar question. I had one more question. I could not hear the name of the musician Maharaj was speaking about. That he does very good. So I think I'll hear that again. That's fine.
He,
For the
he,
Dear Lalit
he's,
Prabhu.
he's Madhav Prabhu. I can share his videos, Mataji. Don't worry.
Okay, fine. Thank you, Prabhu. And for your question, Prabhu, in the office, I mean, this is my personal experience and my personal belief that we can't keep the same standards and the same approach towards the devotees and towards the professional life. So, while appreciating, we say that we have the 70% non-verbal communication and only 30% verbal communication. So while we can communicate with devotees with all 100%, I feel in the office, the 30% verbal communication we have to use with caution because it is not same as the devotee association. And when we are appreciating someone, we have to do with the facts, we have to do with the occasion, and where it suits. I mean, even if we are appreciating openly, when we are appreciating, it should match with the occasion, not not just out of the context. And that's what I feel, Prabhu.
It should match with what? It should match.
It should match with the context. Like we have some
Context.
reward ceremony, like some context, some reward ceremony, some appreciation week, or something we have in the offices. Some events where we ask people to appreciate the colleagues or appreciate someone. So somewhere where there is a point to do that, when we do that, it suits more. But if there is nothing, or someone has done exceptionally good, then that's a different thing. But otherwise, if we are appreciating, then I mean, we can send mail, we can appreciate someone in the group and something, but verbally openly expressing should match with the context, with the event, with the occasion. That's what I feel. That's my belief, Prabhu. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, Sarabari Mataji. Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. For the lecture itself is very beautiful because Maharaj is directly interacting with the youth, the teenagers. So that idea itself is so nice. And these teenagers are really so fortunate that someone like Maharaj is freely having a very free and frank discussion with them and just trying to understand their perspective, what they like, what they don't like, and why they like. So the video is really an excellent video that way. That is one thing. And I also wanted to appreciate what Nilima Mataji said. It was very beautifully said because I also agree to what she said. When we feel that someone needs to be appreciated, I think it has to come from the heart and it has to be done openly. That's my take. What it might lead to or what might others think, all these things will always be there, in particularly an office atmosphere and all. So that thing we have to keep in mind to some extent. But any appreciation, if it is coming from the heart, it will connect and it will give people the feeling that yes, this person is genuine and a safe place to go. I fully agree with what Nilima Mataji said. So wanted to appreciate that. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yeah, Kumarika Mataji. Yeah. Yes,
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I felt that appreciation should not be a no-no in a office atmosphere. Long back, I read a managerial book. A corporate manager had written the book, 1 Minute Manager. You all might have read it. In that 1 Minute Manager, it was a concept that manager or CEO or whoever is in charge, he never used to point out the mistakes of the person before appreciating him. He used to make the point that you are doing so much and I appreciate it. If you can improve in this a little bit, that will be very nice. Always. That was his management style. And he had put it in that book, 1 Minute Manager, that, and we are also asked to do the same with the children, that only depreciation, always pointing out mistakes never works. If we can appreciate them when they are doing correctly and then point out and appreciate them for what they are doing correctly and then point out their mistakes, then they are all the more, they have that self-esteem to correct themselves and go forward. Same thing he had applied also in that book, and he says it is very, very effective. And all of the employees responded to the appreciation first and then pointing out the mistakes gently. So I think appreciation should be used in the workplace also. In the sense, it is very encouraging when you are appreciated by a senior person, especially, yes, in a forum. If good work if is not appreciated, then they will not have the enthusiasm to do more good work. So it should be that policy. But usually in the corporate sector, there is so much of other politics going on. They have got their own people whom they choose to like, and they don't like the others that much. So they don't appreciate the work done by everybody equally. So it happens that a genuine person does not get appreciated for what he does. That is the true. So if we can appreciate, I think from the heart, it will be a boost for of morale for that person, and he will perform better. That is what I feel, Prabhu. My take on that. Thank you.
Yeah, very nice points, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Yeah. Shyam Prabhu, yeah, you want to summarize? Yeah, Hare Krishna.
If you all don't mind, I may want to take 5 to 7 minutes. Nice discussion. Just thought of adding something more.
Yeah,
But
yes,
before
Prabhu.
I speak, Kumari Kamat, okay, I thought somebody else's hand was raised. Just a few points here. One about the topics and what was discussed in Maharaj's class and the discussion that came about here. So, in the session, Maharaj did mention that the youth, they like the musicality much more of the kirtan than japa. And there was this one boy who also had an interest in dressing the deities, and Maharaj is appreciating him for it. But the point here is, the Maharaj wanted the name to be much more central than the music. And how can the name become more central than the music? The nama can become central compared to the music only if one understands the glories of the name. And that is why Maharaj asked the question, do you guys read? Do you guys listen to lectures? And he brought about how he's listening to Prabhupada's lectures and the lectures of Bhakti Vigyan Maharaj, etc. But just to stay on that point here, to appreciate Nama, one has to hear. Lectures, one has to read. Now, there are two kinds of reading or two kinds of listening. One is a guided way, and the other is the unguided way. The unguided way is the one which has lower entry barrier, and this generally takes the form of stories. And we do find in children, especially that they like, say, Harry Potter, they like some other storybooks, and likewise, they like Ramayana and Mahabharata. But what about the guided ones? In other words, we have the books written by Srila Prabhupada, the Bhagavatam books. How many of our children take that book and read it? They say, no, I can't go with the purports, etc. It's too much to read, and there are too many verses. There is a reference from this to that, and mostly what happens is either there is a philosophical point that is being spoken, or somebody has to sit and analyze with them. In other words, it seems that the books of Srila Prabhupada are not beginner friendly or kid friendly, or we are very young children. I would say less than 14, 16 friendly. Then, and why is it not friendly? Because children are in a phase of joy. They are in a phase of wanting to experience good things in life. They like to eat nicely. They like to try new things to eat. They like to go to parks or, like this Wonderla or other kind of recreation centers where they get the thrill. And Prabhupada's books are not necessarily that for thrill. But then we also have the other example. We have two wonderful devotees, Radhika Raman Prabhu and his brother, who throughout their childhood they used to read Prabhupada's books. And this is often made as an example, and devotee parents want to use this as an example to say that Radhika Raman Prabhu did it. All that they did was their mother Aruda Mataji used to sit with them, and the boys used to say, "Come on, tell me next, tell me next." Of course, their mother, that is Aruda Mataji, used a strategy. She used to sit with them with the books. It was not just during night time; it was during the day also, because they were homeschooled. And first pass, she just went through the translations. It was later that she went through the purports. So first they got to know of the storyline. In other words, we have certain books which give the storyline even from as a summary of Prabhupada's Bhagavatam commentary, and then maybe the children can be uh, given Prabhupada's books. Number one. So we need to come up with strategies, and the strategy being not necessarily focusing on the purports initially, but at least the storyline. That's because that's where the children start from. But the second point here is, why is it that children are not interested in the philosophy? Children are not interested in the philosophy because to some extent they have not been exposed to analyzing the world around them. And why don't the children do it? Because children need somebody in front of them to see, hey, this is how I look at the world around me. Many times we tell our children, don't read the news or don't do anything else. So then they don't have any world's perspective, number one. The parents themselves don't have any perspective of the world in many times. They don't know what's happening in the world. They and consequently, all that the parents can talk about is about the children, what the children are doing, or what other parents are doing. And children don't like that. If you talk about something neutral that's happening in the world, maybe they can get interested a little bit. Maybe you can talk about the Olympics and what is the different perspectives on the Olympics. What are the emotions that an Olympian feels through? What's the preparation they feel through? What about it for our own the children's own studies? Have they found their own mojo? Have they found that, hey, I can also figure out what I like to do? And then you can possibly talk, hey, there was this lady who worked for 29 years. She got disqualified in the last minute. How sad she might have felt. Now, what happens to such people in the moments of sadness? Let's look at scripture and see. So we can connect things of the world to have a different perspective. But the problem is, children need most of the children need some guidance on how to take things from the world to the scriptures. And this is where either parents or a community of devotees are required to make this connection. Otherwise, uh, children end up not making their mind active. And that's actually a symptom of a bigger malaise or a bigger disease, which is the parents themselves are not doing it. So where the guided coaching has to come from, the guide himself or herself is not ready. That is a problem. That's one thing that I thought that, I mean, maybe what I'm saying is a little controversial, but that's what I feel so, and you all can correct me. Second, we found that Maharaj is a sannyasi at a stature, a guru. And when I was looking at him, he was almost like taking a position below that of the teenagers. And anybody who has interacted with teenagers recently, or those who are above the age of 18 to 16, 18, 20, not necessarily teenagers, but young adults, know that this generation, even in our generation, it was probably like that. They feel too great about themselves, in the tone of the voice, in everything, etc. Uh, it is as if they are present as if they're making a favor to the world around them. And this is something that we as parents also have to be involved in telling how to interact with great souls. Sometimes we need to do that, and we may not be doing it. And this is not just a feature that we see with the teenagers. What I see here is most adults these days are also in this very, very similar way. Most of the teenagers carry defense mechanisms. That is, if you are going to hurt me, I'm going to uh, put a barrier such that I'm not going to be hurt. They put a mental barrier. And so that comes out in the form of a voice. It is not just true for teenagers, it is very much true even for the adults. They put defensive mechanisms. And the way the defensive mechanism sometimes comes up is uh, either we try to run away from others, we don't want to have long conversations with others where we listen to them completely, or we don't want to have conversations with them where we express our desire, or we don't want to hear too much from others because then they will superimpose themselves on us. This is what teenagers do. This is what adults also do. Uh, so what I see here is that defensive mechanism also comes up sometimes, like the moment we give the moment somebody gives me feedback or somebody says, hey, I think this was wrong, the first thing that comes up here is how I'm right. So I think you might be saying that, but I did this right. That's a defense mechanism. Or the second thing that comes up here is even when the other person is speaking, my first thing is I have an eagerness to be valued. I want to hear, tell me what good thing I have done. Because people have not, most people feel that um, nobody is praising them. And this happens more so for leaders, especially in the corporate world. The people below them shout at them, the people above them shout at them, and so they feel all the more the eagerness to be valued. In that sense, adults are no different from youngsters. And this ties in with the question which Dheeralalit Prabhu spoke, the answers which Sharbari Mataji, Neelima, and Kumarika Mataji said, just to emphasize the same thing that they said, but more from with an example perspective. In my office, or I have found that uh, we are all most of us are in our 40s. We are not here to follow a culture. We are here to create a culture. And in all the places that I have been, I have only been encouraged, even in my office with the kind of managers that I've had, somehow, all of them have only encouraged me, uh, minimize the mistakes of others, don't speak too much about it, and amplify even one small thing they do. And even if you feel that they have an intention to do it and they have not actually done it, somehow appreciate it. And personally, for me, my own rating in my office is based upon how many leaders I can create, how many of them can I encourage to move and contribute to the next level. And some of you may also slowly come to that stage. So it means encouragement is required. But at the same time, it should not go to a toxic level where people get used to encouragement, but they don't give encouragement to others. And that is where creative strategies have to be used, where we have to come up with schemes or projects where make people work with each other and appreciate each other. Sometimes what I do is I have three, four people work with each other, assign, make one of them as a leader, and then finally bring the leader out separately and say, hey, I think this took more time and the other person was not doing well. What did you do for it? He would say, I tried so much to get done, but he couldn't do it. And then I would sit with him and tell him, did you encourage him to say, hey, you did this nicely. I need you very much to complete it. If you do this, we all can publish a paper, something. With your help only we can do. Did you show that dependence to him? I ask him. And then he learns that this is the way he has to do it. So rather than bringing attention to ourselves, we change culture by asking others, can you do this to somebody else? So that we bring the Bhagavata's principles to others' lives too. And one other strategy that I found is that I've learned from my managers, which works, is don't be single point. I mean, don't preferably the first time that a mistake is to be pointed out is not in one-to-one as a person. Do it as a group, and when it is done as a group, tell in general as a principle. Then the person doesn't feel like it's being pointed to me, and don't bring the particular circumstances. Make it as a principle, not as a specific thing. In that way, we come to the stage of helping people grow. Those were some thoughts.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for the elaborate answer.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah. So, anybody would like to add? Yeah. We'll end the session if no further comments or anything. Yeah. Thank you all for joining. Yeah, we'll end the session. Yeah. Let's offer our humble obeisance. One chakal putara beshtu kripa sindhu